Okay. Um, I just seen this video from a guy who had posted this uh, earlier in the year. There we go. Hey Starbucks, is it my skin color? Brendan Ward, a black customer, denied access to a toilet in California Starbucks. Films Weston, a white customer who was given the code before purchasing a drink. The coffee chain has called another incident at a Philadelphia store reprehensible. This is quite interesting, um, and this is a good example of where we see discrimination occurring. But the problem is this: if you are not happy at the way you are being treated, it is quite simple. He videoed it. He did the correct thing. He pointed it out to them that they allowed this person in. He should then have sent that video to the company as an issue and said, "This is what your customer your company is doing. If your policy, you should follow your policy, um, because they didn't give him the code when he wanted to use the toilet, but they gave the white customer the code, irrespective of whether this guy looks like with his hair. Um, I mean, what is it? It's a toilet. It's got a code on it. Um, why? Here in the UK, you can just go and use the toilet. There's no code. There's nothing on there. If it's being used, you can't go in. But why is there a lock on a code on? And why have you got to ask for a code? I suppose obviously you've got the pimps and everybody who's using the toilet, but it's a toilet. People. If you're going to have a toilet in the premises that are for customers, if this guy is a customer, and he wants to use the toilet, he should have been, given the code to use the toilet, because clearly we've seen a white person was given a code before he purchased. But again, the problem is it's at the discretion of the store. If they want to give you the code, they give you the code. I think, to be honest with you now, what this really brings up is perhaps the company should close all the toilets in their stores. Simple as that. Also, black people should not go to their store if they feel they're going to get discriminated against. The problem is, you're going to get discriminated wherever you go in America. What you have to do as a black person, understand that it's going to happen. If you think that it's going to be changed magically overnight, you've got to be realistic. It's not going to. So I'm afraid you're going to have to grow a backbone. Okay. I mean, and know the things that you can and cannot do. When I used to be young in the UK, I knew the kind of the pubs that I could go into and the pubs I didn't go into, and I didn't have a problem with that. Obviously, a person who may be new to town walks into a pub and could experience a problem from that. where everyone turns around and looks at him and thinking, what the hell are you doing here? The person doesn't know that it's a white-only pub, but then again, he can see that it's a white-only pub. If you've got common sense, you turn and walk out and go somewhere else. It's as simple as that. If you're not happy with the service that you're receiving, then you do have the complaint system to use. So this guy could have done an email, uploaded the video to the customer service. If he didn't get much joy there, he could then upload it to the company director. A lot of people experience problems, and I've experienced problems, and all I do is write to the company director. If I have a video, I'll upload it to them. But I'm not sure this is BBC News now. They've picked this up. But they hadn't seen this before. Nobody had hardly seen this. He uploaded this before, and no one took any notice. Why? Why didn't anybody take any notice? Because now we see, I reckon that these two guys had seen this video before, and that they'd been planning this for a time. I said before on one of my videos that this was probably a setup to so-called highlight this problem, and it has become a problem. And it's about using the loo, and it's about the seating error, and it's about. But you see, here is a question: how many problems are there in the Starbucks chain for black people? I mean, if I walked into a Starbucks and I got treated badly because if I went up and said, "Oh, can I use your toilet, please?" and they told me, "Sorry, no, you can't," I'd go elsewhere. I would just turn and walk out, go elsewhere. I think as time goes on, if a black woman wants to use a toilet and she's refused it, I mean, if she's with a couple of people that are sitting down and she wants to use the toilet, if they say to her, "Are you going to be purchasing something?" which is a legitimate question, there's nothing wrong with that, and if she says, "Yes, I'm going to get some water or something to drink. I just want to. Is it possible for me to use the toilet?" and then they give her the code, that's fine. You see, the thing is that I don't know whether this Wesley guy had said whether they may have asked him and said, "Oh," he may have said, "Oh, can I use the toilet?" and then they may say, "Oh, you're going to purchase something?" and he may have said, "Yes, I'm going to get some water. I just want to use the toilet." Then they gave him the code, but we don't know if that's the case, because he said, the black guy said, "Did you ask them for the code?" and he said yes, he asked for the code and they gave it to him. But they may have said, "Before I give you the code, are you going to be purchasing something?" Because it's about using the facilities, but that are provided by Starbucks. But yes, he is correct. If you're going to put a policy across the board where people have got to purchase something before they use the toilet, then it should have been applied to this guy as well. To this, I think the white geezer, it should have been applied to him as well. And so all he had to do was to email this to the company director and say, "As you can clearly see, your member of staff, I pointed out the policy to what was going on and the way they spoke to me, because obviously clearly when he said, 'Look, here you are, is it because of my skin colour?' they started quoting company policy, which they didn't follow themselves. So, if you're going to use the company policy, um, then I suppose yes, it needs to be as even as possible. But hey, look, you don't have a right to be in Starbucks. You don't have a right to use the toilet. And I'm afraid, as I said before, it's unfortunate, but if you to be honest with you, it seems to be a lot of the white women or women have a problem with this issue. I've had the same problem when I was younger and I was working at a company, a female-only business. I asked to use the toilet. The girl at the counter said, "No, this is a female-only gym. If you want to use the toilet, you have to go across the road." What did I do? I didn't say anything to her. I turned, went into the room that I was working, packed up all my tools, put them into the van, came back in, because my van was parked just outside, came back in to get my last bit of tools, and as I was putting that in, the female owner of the business, or manager, saw me putting my stuff in the van, because I was going to go. I was just going to drive. I wasn't going to have any discussion. There was a system to be installed. The lines were there, ready to go into the system, and I was wiring it up. And I was going to come back tomorrow. I was going to go to my office, which was 40 minutes away, half an hour or so. I wasn't that uber desperate, but I needed to use the toilet, so I could hold myself until I got to my office. I wasn't going to use the petrol station. Why should I do that? I'm working in the premises. I'm doing a job in the premises. If the gym was up and running and I was a guy that was walking off the street and said, "Can I use the toilet?" then fine. Yeah, you deny it. Say, "Sorry, no, you can't use the toilet," because they would have the right to do that. Okay, staff would have the right to do that. And I think this situation is a case of you can see on this is discrimination, but you do have the right to go to another shop. So I think the problem is this now. I think what Starbucks needs to do now is close all the toilets. No toilets are available to the public. If you want to need a toilet, look elsewhere, because the toilets are now no longer going to be available to anybody. They should also remove the free Wi-Fi. Okay, that's it. Finish. And then that will solve the problem. I don't know who brought out the free Wi-Fi policy, which company, but it looks like it's a problem. It's going to be a problem. People go into shops, usually buy something. If they go to McDonald's and they've actually gone, they'll walk in and they actually want to buy something, so they actually purchase something and sit down and have it to eat when they finish. I mean, McDonald's certainly here in the UK, there's no locks on the doors. You just in fact, I've gone into a McDonald's and just walked into the toilet, looked where the toilet went in and used it, and come out and then bought something. So is this an issue across America? If it is, then what black people need to do, if they feel this is happening on a regular basis and they ask to use the toilet, even though it is a policy that you should purchase something first, then just don't go into the store. You can find it at the store. You know what the problem is. I'll tell you what the problem is. Black people don't own enough businesses in America. And if there were more black people were to, I mean, where are some of these stars? These baseball stars who are earning millions of pounds, American football stars who are earning millions of pounds, basketball stars earning millions of pounds. Couldn't they sort of somehow club together and open a franchise of coffee shops? You know, start off in Chicago where there's a lot of black people. You know, open a chain of shops there, then and expand it out from there. You know, maybe get someone who's experienced in selling coffee, knows how to put a business together, and just do something to have more black-owned businesses. I do agree. There's discrimination everywhere, and we need to call it out when it's required. Clearly, from this video, great video, it showed that the white guy was allowed the key, and the black guy was refused. Simple as that. But what we need to do is keep this at a level, where we're not going to, go into the stores and take it over and all that kind of nonsense. Just walk away. Don't buy from the store. Go on Facebook, notify black people and say, listen, don't go into Starbucks. Don't patronize Starbucks. We are going to do a ban. I would have much more respect for people if you were doing that than running into the store and doing what? Demanding the company to do what? A privately owned business. You yourself, black people, should look at yourself and say, we need our own business. We need our own coffee shops. We need our own black Starbucks. Okay? We need our own black clothing line. Like Tommy Hilfiger. Where are the black people love fashion like nobody's business. But there are very few black-owned fashion businesses. We've got a few fashion designers, one or two black fashion designers, but there's not enough of them owning shops, chains of shops. And there's no excuses. That they can't get any money for investment. Nonsense. By hook or by crook, you'll find a way. Spike Lee found a way. Used loads and loads of credit cards to finance his films in the early years. Some people go to relative people, ask for a little bit of money here and there. They invest that money. So again, this is clear. You can clearly see discrimination that's occurred. In relation to the one that we saw with the two guys, that was a separate shop. Nobody said that there was any, one or two other people, white people, had asked to use the toilet. This was clearly a separate incident where they'd gone up to the counter and asked to use the toilet. Now, they were told to purchase something. If white people are going into that store and are able to use the toilet without having to, ask for it, because obviously it means they have to use the code. That's a company-wide policy. There would be more of these incidents surely coming out. There would be more people going to this saying, "Oh, I've been to Starbucks where I've been refused to use the toilet, etc., etc." But still, I still stand by what I say. The company is a private-owned business. And if the staff decide to implement that policy, then so be it. There's nothing you can do about it. If you feel that's not the way you should be treated as a customer or as a person who wants to patronize Starbucks. Go elsewhere. Use your feet and walk elsewhere. But you see, the trouble is, black people, you're making all these complaints. Look at the way in which the Korean hair industry is owned by Koreans, and look at the way Koreans behave towards black women. Not all of them are good, not all of them are bad. But the point is, quite a few of them really disrespect black, really, because they know. They look at you and say, look at you. Well, your people haven't got, we are the ones that are having to provide for you. They have very little respect for you. They have very little respect. But then again, I'm not saying that all of these women are angels. I mean, some of them are doing stupid things to cause themselves problems. Again, this is an industry where black people should be owning. This is a ready-made industry. And yet, another group of people are running it. So, I'm sorry, black people have only got themselves to blame. Is it my skin colour? Of course it is. We know that. We know that. So the company now is going to do this nationwide what's it called, racial bias course or whatever it is. Okay. What will now happen? Any little incidents when there's going to be guys that they're now going to go and sit in that Starbucks morning, noon till night, coming with their laptops, and you will not be able to do a thing. You'll not be able to do a thing. They will come in there and they'll sit and they'll be able to sit there all day. They might even bring a portable printer and they can print off jobs and do whatever it was. They might even be able to run their businesses from there because nobody will be able to say anything. Now a manager has had to walk away from their job. They've been kicked out of their business. Rightly or wrongly, they've lost their job because of one incident. Now, I've not heard whether that particular branch was consistently guilty of this problem. I don't know. Maybe the manager was new there. We don't know. We still haven't got more information. I'm talking about the two guys arrested in the Philadelphia incident. But this one in California, if this is happening in California, then black people just need to vote with your feet. Make the report to the company, say this is how you were treated, here's the video evidence, and go about your business. And if nothing is done about it, then go elsewhere. Go to you inform other black people. Inform other black people. But you see, the funny thing is, the reason why this isn't hardly get anyone, because he wasn't arrested. He wasn't arrested. You see? And the reason why the other one got blew up, because they were arrested. They deliberately, this was deliberate. And I'm sure it's linked with this video. I'm sure it's linked with this video. They've been planning this for a long, long time. And then they decided to implement it. So this is the result. This is the result. There you go. I've said my bit. Thank you.